From a fan tackling the ref.
Whoa, what does that?
Then getting destroyed by the players, to a Seagull stopping a kick.
They've just bullered a Seagull.
These are the most what the fuck moments in rugby. We begin with the darker arts of the game. It's 2009 and Harlequins decide that winning legally was too much administrative effort. Wanting to bring on a specialist kicker without losing Tom Williams, they wanted blood, and blood is what they got. Just moments after someone ran on the field, Williams began bleeding from the mouth like a vampiric toddler. Even worse, the medic cut his lip in the changing room to cover up the fraud. Needless to say, they made the sub. The ultimate Ocean's 11 of sporting fraud. Well, if Mr. Bean directed it. But while Williams was changing his clothing, one man couldn't keep his on. I'm talking Donica, a monster of a man. It was late in the game between Cardiff and Munster when the 6'6" Irishman realised his shorts were torn. Most players would wait for a replacement pair. Not my man Donica. He wanted to get things going. Yeah, he just took them off, looking like a bewildered superhero who forgot the rest of his costume back home.
They were playing.
And he doesn't even feel he's got enough time for the shorts.
The sight of the Irishman mauling is something even therapy can't fix. But speaking of public nudity, Faf took it a step too far. It's the 2019 Rugby World Cup final. The Box won, but celebrating took on a whole new level of nudity. Now, I get doing it in the comfort of your own home, but Faf had no shame. Even when Prince Harry rocked up, and he shook Prince Harry's hand with no shame. And I put a bet on him being a bit jealous of that luscious Targaryen hair. At least Faf's nudity was celebratory. For Cody, it was a moment of necessity. Cody understood the mission. Stop the Hurricanes at all costs. Cody took this seriously, and even after losing his jersey, he kept going.
Look at, play on, watch it. I'll have a go. No, I won't. I want to get involved.
He'll go all night, Taylor. No kit, no drama.
Like Marshy said, I bet he'd go all night if no one stops him. But if that was to save his team, the Springboks face nudity as a form of shame. Back in 2003, the Springboks were preparing for the World Cup, but instead of regular training, they set up a military boot camp. That's all good and well, but it's what happened behind the scenes when the cameras turned off that was traumatizing. Cold plunges into the ice. Spending a week naked in a hole. This was worse than Navy SEAL Hell Week or SAS selection. Needless to say, the Springboks lost the World Cup, proving that freezing balls do not lead to better scrums. But if the coaches were losing the plot, some fans are just plain idiots. It's 2002 and the Springboks face the All Blacks. The Boks were clearly dominating, but the referee didn't agree and made some, let's just call them questionable decisions. So my guy Piat took things into his own hands. Yeah, he sprinted on field and just took out the ref.
That is atrocious.
Well, we've got a spectator on the field, and this is really, really poor.
At least Richie was there to save the day. But talking about rugby affection, I'm pretty sure we all know Joe Marler. Yeah, that guy, the big villain of rugby. But this time he wasn't being a dick. He just wanted to fondle.
Those two know one another very well.
And you've got Joe Marler there, haven't you? Looking.
I guess that's an easy way to break up a fight. Needless to say, it was the weirdest display of affection I've seen on a rugby pitch. Of course it came from Joe Marler, but at least he didn't spank his opponent like my guy Warwick. The mission was simple: get the ball, clear the lines, and play down the field. But he didn't. I bet that's the spanking Jan needed after his performance. Certainly the blooper of the week. From unwanted spanking to unwanted punching, the line in rugby is often blurry. Let's face it, rugby is a very physical sport, and Chris Ashton is the guy people love to hate. Man who decided to skip the hateful words and go straight to the violence.
Throws a punch. Ashton.
Just a slap on the wrist for the Samoan, and a black eye for Ashton. From my point of view, that was a full-on assault. But what if an entire team is trained to fight? Yeah, it was 1974. The Lions headed to South Africa. Knowing the aggression of the Springboks, the Lions invented the cool 99. The moment a player got in a fight, the Lions called 99, and everyone began swinging.
Really, this is a giant free-for-all.
The logic was that the referee couldn't send off all 15 players. It instantly turned a rugby match into a choreographed bar brawl. It was magnificent, highly illegal, and a logistical nightmare for the officials. Organised violence is one thing, but sometimes you need a stern referee to call out players. It's Treviso versus Munster, and Nigel wasn't going to take any shit from anyone. One man waves his arm like a kid throwing a tantrum.
I don't think we've met before, but I'm the referee on this field, not you. Stick to your job and I will do mine. If I hear you shouting for anything again, I'm going to be penalising you. This is not soccer.
The greatest one-liner in rugby history. I bet he never shouted at a referee again. And what about nature? Sometimes you just have to respect it. In F1, you see squirrels. In the NFL, you see dogs. But in rugby, nature takes to the air. Tonga was in trouble, then the Seagull came to the rescue.
But he was taking the ball standing still. They've just mullered a Seagull.
An unforgettable moment at the Rugby World Cup. Now, what about a coach who cooked a nation? Mr. Charismatic Eddie Jones is known for his strong words.
Eddie Jones has unleashed on Australian media ahead of the World Cup, launching into a tirade just moments before boarding the plane to France. His parting words telling reporters to give themselves an uppercut.
Yeah, he really said that.
Thanks for the worst press conference I've ever had in World Rugby. Worst press conference. Well done, boys. Good luck. You ought to give yourselves an uppercut.
The man is a walk-in headline generator, treating the press like his own stand-up comedy show.
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Tell me.
He's the chaotic, evil uncle of world rugby, and no one knows if he's a genius or just making up stuff as he goes along. But at least he wasn't hungover like Brumby Jack. If you're not playing, I guess nothing prevents you from slamming back a few cold ones the night before. But for Brumby Jack, the hangover proved a little too much.
We've got a real situation down here. I think someone slipped Brumby Jack a Mickey. No, Clarky, hold on, he's down. Brumby Jack is down.
Instead of entertaining the fans, he was, well, chundering on the sideline. But that's not all.
There was a moment in the pre-game where he got a bit touchy with the ground announcer, and I thought, this is not the horse I know. Something's horribly wrong.
They even dared to blame someone else.
So who's to blame for the 2014 fiasco?
If I'm looking at one and one only, it's that weirdo mascot from the Lions. You know, the one that looks like the weasel?
At least the Aussie media gave us something to laugh about, unlike Wales, who created a strategy that almost ruined the game. Now, the Dragons have never beaten the All Blacks, and in 2012 that wasn't going to change. But when Wales got a penalty, they kicked for touch and did something ridiculous.
They're all in the lineup, look, all 15 players. I would imagine this is a catch and drive.
And here's the drive. And they scored!
Yeah, 15 versus 8. The odds were in their favour, and I bet the All Blacks were just as baffled as we were. Nowadays, that move is nothing new, but what does feel funny is when a game goes so far overtime, they end up needing to pay overtime. It's the 2017 Six Nations, Wales versus France. Wales are leading and the game is already over, but the referee just continued. Penalty, injury, penalty. Even an HIA, so France could bring a new prop onto the field. Even Barnsley was baffled, but finally awarded the try. This was certainly something no one expected. Almost like the Irish legend scoring a legendary try. I'm talking about a hotly contested match between the Wasps and Leinster, but Brian had the luck of the Irish on his side.
We're seeing, here's O'Driscoll again. Goal good, it'll tip by O'Driscoll. That's brilliant skill. He's going to go in again.
What was that? I don't know if I should call it skill or luck. Let's chalk it down to skill, but is this really a try? And what about Geordie's moment of brilliance? In the Rugby Championship, anything goes, and when the All Blacks got the ball, it was truly put to the test.
So both teams guilty of getting it wrong in that facet. Potter looks to have lost that first. It's there for Tapia. Tapia sockers it ahead. Just needs to fall it now and done.
Yeah, instead of touching the ball with his upper body, he headed it. But the try still stood. I still wonder if this is some kind of secret move the All Blacks just unleashed. Whatever the case, it can't compare to the level of foolishness of this guy. It's the 2003 Rugby World Cup, and my man Louis has a shot at goal.
To the business end. Oh, and there's a lunatic out there. Diving at Louis Kuhn.
Yeah, exactly what he said. An absolute lunatic. At least the kick was already over, proving that, yeah, he was a fool. Speaking of crazy goal kicks, what DC-10 did was almost impossible. It's the 2007 Super Rugby, and the Crusaders are dominating. As always, Carter lines up for a goal, but the wind is just not on his side.
Goodness gracious.
What the hell was that? It was worse than Lee's at the PGA Tour. I guess that's why Carter is the GOAT. Now, if the coaches don't do their job, you can rely on this canine to bark the orders. It's a local university game in South Africa, and it doesn't seem like the coaches are doing anything. Then this little guy steps up.
Down the far beach line and then back.
Always barking orders to the home side, you.
I don't know who he was barking orders at, but at least the game got a little better. Protect this dog at all costs, especially if you're a Patriot fan. But what happened to this guy? Did he just forget the rules? This time we head to the world of sevens rugby, Samoa versus Spain.
One-handed offload is an absolute peach.
A brilliant run and a sure try, but this happened instead.
That is...
For a pass.
Oh no!
Yep, that's a forward pass. If I was his teammate, I would be fuming. What is he doing? Bet he felt like a fool. Just like you will if you don't watch this one. And as always, thank you for watching.